About a year ago I put a video on YouTube about sharpening chisels and plane irons. I went into quite a lot of detail, and I do realise that I tend to talk slowly sometimes as well. However, someone commented the other day that it actually takes 8 minutes for me to actually get to the bit where you sharpen the chisel. And as I was boasting that I can sharpen the chisel in 30 seconds, it seemed rather a long preamble. So I've decided to cut to the chase and provide an abridged edition for those of you with short attention spans, and here it is. So this is my sharpening station. As I said before, I like to use water stones. Don't know why. They're messy. You have to keep them in a reservoir of water, so they take up space. You have to flatten them occasionally because they wear out. But I do like them, don't know why. I think one reason is that they do actually cut very quickly, so you can actually hone quite quickly on them. Anyway, I've got a 1000 grit, 4000 and 10,000. Now, 10,000 is probably a bit of overkill really. A colleague of mine, he uses this for his sharpening, which I think is a 1000 and a 6000 stone, and he gets perfectly good edge using that. Now, the approach I'm talking about, you can use it using freehand or using honing guides. I mean, there's a Stanley, that's a cheap Stanley one, which you can probably pick up for about 15 quid. Or here's the all singing, all dancing Veritas one, which costs quite a bit more money. Anyway, let's have a look at freehand honing. Just put a bit of water, this is just ordinary water I'm putting on these stones. Okay, so what I'm looking for is to find the primary bevel, that large grinding bevel, and then lift the chisel, this is where we get technical, a smidgen to achieve the secondary bevel. So we're trying to lift it 5 degrees up from that larger bevel. So just tilt it up slightly and then take a couple of strokes and see if you can feel a burr on the back. Now quite often you'll have a burr just from 1 or 2 strokes. I can feel a nice firm burr there just by rubbing my finger on the back there. I obviously can't show it to you, it's something you can just feel with your thumb. And once you've got that burr on the back and you can see a nice bevel achieved along there, then you go on to the next one. Now we're on the 4000 grit, same again, find that bevel, lift it up slightly, a couple of strokes, and then on to the 10,000 grit, again, same principle. I might use a few more strokes perhaps on here just to get a nice polished edge. Because what we're doing really is on the 1000 grit, we're actually sharpening it, and on the subsequent grits all we're doing is polishing the edge. I got carried away with myself and I went off. I polished the edge there, and now I flipped it over and I'm just rubbing it on the fine stone to get rid of the burr which we created when we sharpened it. Now that should give me a nice sharp edge. Now I'm going to show off a bit here and just shave the back of my wrist there. You see, you can always tell the tool geeks because they've always got a bare patch on their wrists from where they're shaving when they're sharpening. So to recap, what we're doing is we're looking to find that bevel, then just raise it a little bit. Now the way I'm holding it, can you see, I've got my index finger there and I've got my middle finger in my other hand there, so I'm sort of, and I'm not applying a huge amount of pressure, but I'm also holding it here with these fingers here, and I use those fingers just to achieve that extra, so I'm just flexing it up. Just by flexing these fingers, I'm lifting the chisel that 5 degrees. And again, I've got that burr again. I can go through the process again if I felt like it. This process also applies to plane irons as well. You can do exactly the same approach with plane irons. You know, just the idea is we're taking as few strokes as possible to achieve this burr, Then we're going on to polish and then take the burr off. Now previously I claimed I could sharpen a chisel in less than 30 seconds. So we'll have a go at that in a minute. I've just got to blunt this chisel again just so that we can prove that I have sharpened it. So bear with me for a minute. Okay, so I've done a bit of preparation for the 30-second challenge, done a few press-ups and that sort of thing. And I've just sort of moved the camera around a bit so you can see in more detail what I'm doing. I'm just going to blunt the edge of this chisel just by rubbing it with a steel burnisher, which I use for burnishing scrapers. Let's see how, you see that's not cutting terribly well now. A good test of whether a chisel's sharp or not is whether you compare end grain on oak. Right, so I'm just going to take the burr off that I created from that from blunting it. Yeah, still pretty blunt. Okay. Oh, the tension's mounting. Right, so off we go. Find the bevel, lift it a smidgen. Now I can feel a nice burr there. On to the next one. Oh, I did 3 there. And then on to this polishing stone. And I'll do a few more on this one. And then flip it over. Take the burr off. And I'm done. Now I haven't got a stopwatch, so I don't know how long that took. You can probably work it out on the video. Now let's see how sharp this is now. Okay, so you can see we can get a tool sharp in a very, very quick time, and we've done very few strokes on there, so we haven't worn the stones out terribly. They should stay flat for a lot longer, and also we haven't grown this honing bevel that we want to keep as narrow as possible for as long as possible so that we can carry on quick honing. Quick word about honing plane irons. It's the same process, but some people like to have a camber on the plane iron, a very slight curvature along the end of the plane iron, which helps when you helps to use the plane when you're trying to plane timber square and things, because you can use that camber to achieve a differential cut across the wood. Well, how do you get that camber though? Using a freehand, or even using the honing guys. You can do the same with the honing guys in this approach. So what I'm doing is I'm finding the bevel, lifting it that smidgen, and then honing until I can feel a burr. I've got a burr there now. Now to get that camber, I'm going to apply differential pressure. So can you see I'm moving my fingers over to one side, and I'll do 2 or 3 strokes on one side, and then I'll do 2 or 3 strokes on the other side. Again, trying to find that bevel each time, lifting it from the primary bevel. And I'll do the same on the other stone. A couple of strokes. And then applying on one side, and then on the other side. And then finally on the polishing stone, look, 10,000 grip. I'm in trouble finding the bevel now. It is more difficult to find the bevel on plane irons because they're narrower, so the bevel is, that primary bevel is a lot narrower itself, so it's more difficult to find that nice flat and then lift it from there. And flip it over, take the burr off. Sometimes the burr falls off before you get to this stage, and you can see there's a little bit of wire on the stone, but it's worth just polishing the back anyway, just in case. And also it's good to keep the back well polished anyway. That's nice and sharp. I'm not going to show off and shave my wrist again there. Yeah, so that's how you do plane irons. And as I say, you can do the same principle. You know, if you've got your blade in a honing guide, you can apply differential pressure on the honing guide, even if you haven't got one of these fancy curved wheels like they have on the Veritas. You know, just that differential pressure. We only need a couple of thou. That's all we need to get that camber, and that's enough to be able to achieve a squaring cut with the plane.